Hey everyone, my name is Jeff and my goal at this video is to show you how to get a Raspberry Pi hooked up, configured, and working with a Hinkspix controller from HolidayCoro so that you can run your light show from a Raspberry Pi. On this channel I've done other videos showing kind of behind the scenes of how I set up my holiday light show for Halloween and Christmas. I added lights to my house, as well as I set up a 12.5-foot mega tree and some arches that are in my front yard, creating a great light show. And then I've programmed all this stuff in xLights. If you want to reference or check out any of those videos, if this is new to you and you're not quite sure how to do all that, you'll want to check the links down in the video description. Watch those videos first and then jump back to this video here, because this is kind of progressing from either using a laptop computer to run your holiday light show, or with the Hinkspix you can save your sequence files to the micro SD card and then just insert that into the Hinkspix. You eliminate all of that need by using the Raspberry Pi. The requirements before you go through the steps in this video are going to be as follows from what I'm listing here. So first off, you're going to want to have a Raspberry Pi up and running, and you're going to want to have Falcon Player installed on it. Now, if you don't have that set up yet, you can find links in this video description below, one showing you where I purchased the Raspberry Pi, as well as another link to another video, not by me, but by someone else that does a great job showing you how to set up the Raspberry Pi and install Falcon Player on it. You'll also need to have your entire show set up in xLights, as I am referencing here. You can see all the different elements or models that I have of my show. And you're going to need to know how many lights you have total and what ports or what universes all those lights are going to be coming out of, so that you can adjust or configure your Falcon Player on the Raspberry Pi so that it can match up with your controller. So you're also going to need to have your Hinkspix controller configured for your light show setup. If you don't have that done yet, you can reference videos that I've done showing how I set up my light show, or you can jump over to places like HolidayCoro's website, where they also have videos showing you how to configure your controller. And finally, you're going to need to have your Hinkspix controller set up to receive data from the E131 versus receiving data from the SD card. Again, there'll be another video linked down in this video description showing you how to switch modes on your Hinkspix so that it's in E131 mode and not receiving data from the SD card. Okay, so hopefully from this point you will have a screen such as this that I'm showing here, where you can see the dashboard of your Falcon Player. Now, you can connect your Falcon Player two ways. One is by running an Ethernet cable out of your laptop computer directly into the Raspberry Pi. The other way that you can connect is through using Wi-Fi. If you haven't connected through Wi-Fi yet, what you can do is get on your laptop computer. You're going to need the IP address of your Falcon Player. I can see this up top here. In this instance, it's this 192.168.8.1. This other IP address here that you're going to see, that is for the Hinkspix, and I'll show you how we're going to set that up here shortly. In order to connect to it through Wi-Fi, if you go down to your laptop settings in the lower right portion of the screen, and then go ahead and tap on that, you will see here your internet options. And if I go to manage Wi-Fi connections, I can just tap on this, and I'm going to see all the different networks available, including this FPP. I would just go ahead and connect to that, and then once it's connected, if you type in FPP up top here, or if you type in that IP address, it will come up, it will bring up the dashboard for Falcon Player. Again, if you're connected to the internet, I just typed FPP up top here, and then that brought me to the dashboard. Now, for some reason, it's not showing up in your networks. what I would recommend you do is go back to your network settings here. You can also go to the search bar down below and just type in network connections. That's also going to bring this up. But when you get into your Wi-Fi settings, at the very bottom here, you can see this more Wi-Fi settings. If I click on that, that takes me into the settings, same place you'd get to if you went to network connections, and I can go to show available networks. Now here I can see any other networks that might be available, and again, if you're still not seeing FPP, I would recommend turning off Wi-Fi, turning it back on, and seeing if that will populate it in your list. Now there's a setting on Falcon Player that actually allows you to tether, and that is what allows it to be discoverable on by Wi-Fi to connect to it. So if you're still not seeing it, there's a chance that that may not be turned on. And real quick, as I do in all the videos on this channel, I've hidden Tinker. Tinker is our little hidden robot. He looks just like this guy on my shirt, and he's going to briefly pop up somewhere at some point during this video. If you happen to spot him, take note of the timestamp. That's the amount of time into this video that Tinker pops up, and be the first person to let me know that down in the comments section below. And if you are that first person, I'll give you a shout out in one of my future videos, as well as I will put your name on our Tinker Forward Hall of Fame page. In that instance, what I would recommend is you go to your Falcon Player by hardwiring, run an Ethernet cable from your Raspberry Pi to your laptop, and then from that point, what you want to do is type in the IP address of your Raspberry Pi. Go ahead and connect to it. If you'll see at the top here for the interface, you've got these different pull down menus. If we go to status control, I can go to network, and under network, we'll come back to this here, but just for the purposes of connecting to it to make it able to be shooting out a Wi-Fi signal, you're going to go to this network configuration and then go to tethering. And then under tethering, make sure this tethering mode is enabled. With this enabled, make sure tethering interface is this WLAN 0, which is the only option here. And then SSID should be FPP. By default, the password is Christmas with a capital C. So once you have that turned on, then if you may need to do a reboot, and you've got buttons down below here that say reboot, or try doing a restart. Once you've got tethering enabled, then that is going to allow you to have it be discoverable on your Wi-Fi, or as a Wi-Fi network that you can connect to. All right, so now let's go through configuring the Falcon Player so that it's going to work with that Hinkspix controller. So the first thing that we're going to want to do here is go to that network configuration, and we were on tethering. We're actually going to go to interface settings, and interface settings here is where you are going to put in, you want it to kind of look like my screen here. So Wi-Fi drivers external, I'm in the United States. Interface name, we're going to use the ETH0, and I'm going to do a static interface mode. Now this IP address is actually the IP address of my Hinkspix. Now this, if you already had it working in xLights, you'll be able to see this controller address in xLights that you plugged in, or go back to the interface of your Hinkspix, and at the very top here, you're going to see that IP address. This IP address, like I said, if you've already got it working with xLights, in xLights, if you go to controllers, and then you have your controller set up, you're also going to see your IP address right here. And you can go ahead, highlight this, and I'm on my Windows computer, holding down Control and C to copy that, and then I'm going back to my Falcon Player. In my Falcon Player, I'm going and pasting that IP address in right here. Now you'll notice that on my Hinkspix, it was actually this number and then a .200. That's actually out of range for the Falcon Player, so we're going to actually make this a .1. So if you have a high number that you're ending in, you're going to want to change that to .1. So I had 169.254.62.200. I changed that .200 to a .1. Now that same IP address here is what I'm going to make my gateway in the bottom field down here. Net mask, you can put in 255.255.255, and then from this point you are set up. You can go ahead and update your interface, and that is now going to update that information. We can go to host and DNS settings. I didn't change anything in here, so you can just leave that alone. Now, to get it to work with the Hinkspix as well, you need to go to status control here and then go down to proxy settings. Now, in proxy settings, again, you need to take the actual IP address and you need to paste that in to this field here. Now, if this is the first time you're doing this, you're not going to have a field, so you need to go to this add button, and this add is going to add in a proxied host. So you're going to paste in this IP address. You can give it a description if you want. I just call it Hinkspix Pro Controller. And then when you go to save, or maybe after you do that, I can't remember, it creates this link. Now, if I actually click through this link, it's very slow when I try to do this here, but it's actually going to take me and link right up with my Hinkspix controller. So that's pretty cool. That's another way that you can reach your Hinkspix controller, is through that link. And if that link is working, you've got the correct IP address in. So make sure you hit save after you've put in your proxied hosts. And then we are going to go over to this input-output setup. Now, inputs, we're not going to change anything, but channel outputs, this is where we're going to make a lot of changes here. So you should have your controller, your Hinkspix, set to receive the E131 information. Here is where you are going to give it that information that it's going to receive. So channel outputs here, we've got this E131 ArtNet button selected. And then right here, you need to set up these different outputs. So what we're going to do here is for output counts, we're going to reference xLights, because of course you have your whole show set up in xLights. And we can see our layout here, but if we go to the controllers tab, again, we're referencing this controller. We've got our IP address. If we scroll down a little bit more, we can see here how many different universes we have. 49. And I've got individual sizes check marked here so that I can see them all. And here is all 49 universes with how many different channels are being used per universe. So universe 1 here is 150 all the way down to 32, because that's my mega tree. We're going to just copy, and then unfortunately you got to do it manually here, one by one, all these numbers over to your Falcon Player. So we're going to switch back to the Falcon Player. And in here, my source is this ETH0. My output counts 49. And I'm enabling output. You can do this at any time, but you need to make sure this enable output is selected, because even if you set all this up and enable output is not selected, it's not going to be doing anything. From this point, you've got your 49 universes, 49 outputs, and you're going to want to have them set to this E131 unicast. Your unicast address is going to be your Hinkspix controller IP address. And then these are going to correspond here to the universe sizes, are going to correspond here to the number of channels that you have per universe. This should, when you start putting these in, automatically start populating the FPP start channels, which are here. So I just went back and forth, and you can see here all 32 of my first universes have that 150, and then my next one here, 345. We're going to jump back to xLights. xLights, here's that 345. 225, 225, 384. So I just went down, I took all these numbers and made sure that all of these different universes had the same number of channels being used. All these same different universes have the same number of channels being used all the way down to match everything up. When you are done, you're going to go ahead and hit save. Now I'm not doing this actively with you because it's just quicker for me to show you, but it may say after you do the save here that you need to do a reboot or restart. Go ahead and make sure that you've got that set up, rebooted, so everything's set to go. Make sure this enable output is definitely checked. And take a quick second, smash that like button if this video is helping you out. All right, with the save button being hit, from this point we're gonna go back to status control. We can go to the status page. You should now have Falcon Player configured so that you can run your Christmas show. Now, this has not only a file manager, but a scheduler on it. To make sure that the scheduler is accurately working, you want to make sure this time and date up here are correct. Now, you can change this in your settings if you go here to status control and then go down to FPP settings. There's all these different buttons right here. If you go to time, this will allow you to put in the date and time. Once you do that, it should populate it. You can see here that it's actually set up, ready to go. And then that will give you your accurate date and time so that when you schedule your show, it's going to run according to the actual time and not just some funky time that might have still been programmed if you're just setting up your FPP, if you just got things going. So make sure your time is set. All right, so now we've got our show configured. We're going to actually add some files to our file manager. We're going to go to this content setup, go to file manager. Under file manager, you'll see here this drop and drag. Now this is what's so powerful and so great about using a Raspberry Pi is you can pretty much tap into this thing using Wi-Fi, any computer, and if you've got your files on that computer, you can upload to your Raspberry Pi. So you need, if you're just doing sequences, you just need the FSEQ files that you would be uploading. You would click this select files and then go find whatever songs you're going to be using .fseq and go ahead and upload those files. Now under audio, you'll also need to make sure that you have uploaded any MP3s or whatever files you're using. It actually shows you here from music files, MP3, the OGG, M4A, FLAC, and the AAC are the accepted music files here with Falcon Player. Go ahead and find those files and go ahead and upload them here to your file manager. Now from that point, you can actually create a playlist. So we go back to content setup. We go to playlists. Under playlists, you'll see my Halloween show here. I can go to this new playlist in the upper right corner if I was going to create a new playlist. Otherwise, I can edit this existing playlist or delete it. Let's just go ahead and edit this for right now. Whether you create a new playlist or if you're going to edit it, you go into the playlist and then you're going to add a sequence entry. And then when you do that, it's going to bring up a menu here where it's trying to figure out what you choose, whether you want sequence and media, or there's all sorts of other options here. But as a quick example for this Grim Grinning Ghosts, I have the sequence file selected from the files that I have on my playlist. And then I've got the MP3 also selected for that media. I go to add, and that's going to add that to my playlist. So from the playlist here, we can see things like the number of items, the duration, and then we can see all the actual song sequences here that I can edit or delete. These dots over here on the left allow you to rearrange these in any order you want. When you are done, you would just go ahead and go to Save Playlist, and then that is going to save your playlist. Once your playlist is saved, again, you can go to the status control, go to your status page, and it's going to show you whatever you currently have set up to play. In this instance, it's my Halloween show. If you have music that you are syncing your lights up to, there's also a headphone jack that comes out of or headphone port that comes out of the side of the Raspberry Pi. You can go ahead and run a 1/8 inch audio cable out of that to, like on mine, I run it to an FM transmitter, and I can control the output volume right here. I can even mute it if I want by bringing this all the way down, and that is going to control the volume level of the audio output coming out of your Falcon Player. To play the show, I can just go ahead and hit play, and it says playlist started. It's actually going through my playlist here, playing the sequences. I can skip to the next one if I want. I can stop gracefully, stop now. What's cool is even from my phone, I can remotely connect to the FPP of my playlist, and maybe I'm outside watching the show. I want to repeat a song. Maybe I'm trying to film it for a YouTube video or something like that. I've got remote control of this playlist. I don't have to run inside to a laptop computer. I don't have to mess with the micro SD card that's on the Hinkspix. I've got all this control right here, even remotely from Falcon Player. And I wish you the best of luck in getting your Raspberry Pi up and running. If you've created a show and you've got any videos online, I always love checking those out. So leave me a link down in the comments section below as well. My name is Jeff. Be sure to check out the other videos I've done with holiday decorating on this channel. There'll be a playlist popping up here at the end so you can see some of the cool things I've done with, like talking pumpkins and projection, and obviously the whole behind the scenes of how I set up my holiday lights in my yard. So as always, be sure to make every day awesome, and I will see you guys in the next video.